Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So this is part 3 of the interview that I have done with Codestrap, and this is the part that blew my mind the most. I know some of you are upset that the interview is not released in one, but it's not done editing, and because Codestrap has a contract with Palantir, he has to check all the parts and make sure everything is okay. So we are not done with the full interview, but to not leave you guys hanging, I'm still releasing parts. If you like this interview series, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and check out the first link in the description box below, which takes you to our Patreon link where you can support the channel and have direct access to me from $5 a month. I'm going to link Codestrap's channel below so you can see and really enjoy this video. As a Palantir investor, this really blew my mind. Enjoy. Okay, so then a question, because it sounds like when you said that when they implement Foundry, that they come with the team and then they teach your team how to do it. There is, I mean, there must be a cost involved with that. And so what is the least minimum size of a company? Because let's say that you're a mom and pop shop.
Yep.
I don't think that you can have a.
Well, let me kind of step back. Like, yeah, the reason that a lot of those bigger companies require forward deployed engineers and a lot of hand holding is because of their size, right? It's like they have 30,000 employees and remember, like I said, probably the largest problem you're going to deal with in digital transformation is non-technical. It's change management. It's dealing with people problems, right? So a lot of the reason these large corporations would require consultancy engagements from Palantir and hands-on training labs and like that kind of thing has more to do with the people management component than the technical one. I don't need forward deployed engineers to get value out of Foundry. I built the Foundry for gaming demo in like 6 hours, and I didn't get any training up front. I just freaking jumped on the platform. Where I got stuck, I read the documentation and I was unstuck,
So basically there's nothing stopping it from being available to anyone who's willing to learn
Nothing.
That's very
and the training is online. Like I can't get into it yet. I am going to do a video on Foundry training explained. I got the green light from them to release it because the information is non-public in some areas, but I'm going to be able to cover the public-facing information as part of this video. But it's online. There is a cost, right? And I'm not going to get into what it costs. But you have to be an existing Palantir customer, and you pay the fee to access the training materials. But you can certify online, right? So it's self-paced learning. They have video courses. They have
and do you know how much this fee is?
I can't say. I do know how much it is, but I can't tell you.
But is it affordable? Is it like
it's in line with the same prices I pay for AWS certifications and other types of certifications.
Okay. That is very interesting because here's another very interesting question. So when you use Foundry, what is it that you pay for? Is it you pay a license fee for being able to use it? Do you pay per user? Do you pay per data transaction?
They do have usage-based. I don't have insights into what they negotiate for every customer. So I guarantee you there are flat rate customers that they have where they've negotiated a flat fee and that's what the company is going to pay. But they do have usage-based pricing. So I can go in and there'll be but it's a negotiated fee. It's not like you can just go to their website and see the price you're going to pay. Like you meet with a sales team, A, they decide if they want you on the platform, B, they decide what you'll pay for the platform, but it is a usage-based fee. And if you go over, your pre-negotiated amount, there's billing involved and all that kind of stuff. So it's very much like upfront sales process, even though it's usage-based pricing and that sort of thing.
Because that's what I mean. If they would really wanted to open it up for mom and pop shops, then, it wouldn't necessarily cannibalize their other sales because their usage could be so limited that to users.
So this is an interesting debate to have because this is where the Adobe purchase of Figma comes in, and why I think it's such a great parallel for what the problems they're going to have at Palantir related to this is that once you have, let's just say an enterprise sales team or a sales team period, and your platform is only offered to customers who pay 7 figures, and now you want to open it up for mass market adoption, say like bottom up SaaS. And you're going to have a freemium tier, you're going to have a $20 a month tier, you're going to have, all the way up to enterprise. It's a nice sales funnel, it goes all the way up to enterprise. What the problem you start having is how do you not piss off the customers you have who perceive that you're now giving this product away for what they're paying 7 figures for? And how do you not have a revolt in your sales team where they're like, dude, if you do this, I'm quitting, and I was in the middle of this kind of these kind of discussions, like I was telling you before, I worked for an Adobe certified solutions provider for 10 years. I was deeply involved with Adobe's teams trying to make web-based product offerings, because the company is still extremely good at delivering their software over the web. They have a proprietary way they've done that. And when I say their software, we could deliver InDesign documents over the web. You could edit them and publish them. And Adobe is very interested in how we did this. And so I got to sit in a lot of these design meetings. I worked with teams who were trying to design web versions of their services, of their platform tools. But the biggest problem they faced was not a technical one, it was a business one, right? So like every time they would get moving, something would get some momentum, the organization would squash it because it was interfering with existing revenue streams over here, you know? And that's a real concern. Like, and Palantir is going to kill themselves internally if they don't address it, in my opinion, because if the argument is, no, we can't do bottom-up SaaS because you're interfering in my enterprise revenue stream and I'm going to quit, or I'm going to take my customers with me, whatever the salesperson is going to say. Or maybe that's not the argument that's being had. Maybe it's just that we don't want to open the platform because we believe this is the right way to grow. But that could just be because this guy's getting a commission, or this girl's getting a commission off a $10 million deal every year. It's not necessarily what's good for the company. They're making decisions because they're getting huge amounts of money. They don't know how they're still relevant or going to make that kind of money if more and more people adopt for the bottom-up SaaS offerings, and they can't actually get them into the enterprise funnel. Because right now they have a guaranteed paycheck, and it's going to be in the 7 figures. But if you start effing with that, then you're going to get a lot of organizational pushback, gravity. People are going to be making insincere arguments based on financial incentives that are built into their system. And that's what happened with Adobe. That's why it was so goddamn hard for them to compete with Canva and to compete with Figma. It wasn't they had technology way before those people did. They could have gone the bottom.
It's so counterintuitive to me, because I'm like, because the let's say on Canva, I use Canva, right?
Yep.
Like, you could never sell Adobe for 8 figures for me because I'm a one-person show. What's counterintuitive for me is that you're getting a new segment of the market for a new price, and I don't see how that is killing.
It's a whole different business model though, because like let's put it this way, like in a lot of cases you are the product, so like they sell advertising on top of the product, you just use it for free, right? So like, is Adobe going to give away Photoshop? Like, I don't think so. Like, I don't see them giving away Photoshop for free anytime soon. The web business, SaaS business model, the web offering, and can sell advertising as a way to create a freemium usage tier that Adobe just wasn't ever going to adopt, you know? And that's where tools like Canva were so powerful.
This I can see, because if you're paying, what is it, like $50,000 a year for software, and then you could have the same software for free and, just suffer from some ads.
Why do you think Canva exists today? Like, why is it so popular? One, it's easy to use, right? So like not hard to use, low barrier to entry, and there's a freemium tier. You can go in and you can just start using it. I don't need to go and buy a subscription to whatever the cloud, the Adobe cloud, and pay. Even though I do that, like I actually use Adobe products, I actually still like some of their products a little bit more than these online tools. But that's why Canva and Figma were such an existential threat to their business. They could just had a different business model, and they could give things away where Adobe could never give them away. And they folded. That's what that M&A was about. They were just like, you know what? Fuck this. We're not going to keep trying to necessarily compete with these companies. Let's just go out and buy them and hopefully leave them alone and let them grow on their own. And we just get the benefits of those things without trying to disrupt their business.
That's so interesting. Yeah. Wow, this has completely changed my mind, because I even did videos that, like, I was thinking that Palantir's strategy is that they're meant to be used in a consortium, like in between companies, and then when they're being used that way, like the fact that that group is using it, it can force it downstream. So for example, let's say that you're a supplier to, is it Hyundai and Kia that is using Foundry,
Hyundai Heavy Industries. I don't know if Kia is. I know Hyundai Heavy Industries is using it.
So let's say Hyundai is using it, and then you're a supplier to them, and then there is a supplier below them who's like, no, we want to use some other software. Then these guys are going to say, no, fuck you, because us too, we are using Palantir. So you have to use Palantir. And then the more of these there are, then the new companies that come, the new suppliers that come under, like, they are forced to use, like, there's no two ways about it, right?
I believe that too. And there's numerous advantages in there. One is that you're securing, like, this, the one that no one really realizes, like, there's the business efficiencies. There's the fact that Foundry makes that process really cool and easy. Like, you actually have a better supply chain as a result of that. But then it's also verifiable. So like, Foundry has a mode in which you can operate in that I'm still experimenting with, but I've been talking to the technical folks about, which is like you can create these like append only data sets so that data is never lost. You can't delete it, right? It's just new data comes in, new transaction is appended. So the state of any given record is the most recent version of that record, but you've never lost the previous states of the record. And your entire history of your data sets is preserved for you. So you can time travel through them, and you can, do some pretty cool analysis as a result of time travel. But the fact that the data is never deleted, then you add the consistency guarantees by hooking multiple Foundry instances together, right? So like, because you could hook multiple Foundry instances together, you now have copies of all that time travel that is basically a distributed ledger at that point. What other fucking thing do we know that called the distributed ledger that is very useful in supply chain management? Blockchain, right? Like blockchain is a huge tool used in supply chain management. So we know you didn't fuck with your data, that your data is non-fungible. So we know your part came from where it said it came from through consensus. Foundry can do that same thing. And that's another reason it's so powerful as a consortium model, is that you can get the same consistency guarantees you can get through like a trustless model with blockchain without having to deal with fucking blockchain. And so, and also you get all the other benefits out of it. So I think there's like both the sort of logical efficiency model that makes that consortium very attractive, but then there's also the transparency, trustless kind of way that Foundry, the type of trustless guarantees Foundry can enable through a consortium model. So there's both of those things to think about.
Okay, good. I just realized we never answered this question. So when you're a Foundry user, like what is it that you pay for? Is it, again, a license fee that, you use it? Is it that it's based on your data usage, and do you know how much
if you are under a usage-based pricing model, you're paying for your compute and your storage, right? So it's like both of those.
So if you use like 10 gigabytes.
Actually, you know what? It was just compute. I believe the only thing that, I don't know if I'm saying things I'm not supposed to say here either, like, but I believe it's based on compute. So how much data are you processing in the platform? That's what it's really based on. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. This is very interesting because I'm shocked now that it would technically be possible to just release Foundry for even very small companies, and it would be super beneficial. And like, why is it not being done?
That's the question I'm asking. And that's where I've been hypercritical of CARP in particular, is because that is a CEO level decision. And Adobe as well, that would have been a CEO board level decision as to like, are we going to adopt a mass market strategy where we have a freemium tier and we go ad-based model, or
do you think it can be like an Apple-esque decision that they want to like perfect? Because Foundry is quite young. It's only 5 years old. And do you think that maybe they think they don't have the manpower and the experience to really open it for? No,
I don't think so. I think they have they have all of the staff they would need. I mean, look, dude, like I can release a SaaS product by myself if I wanted to, right? You're not going to have great customer support, but I could easily just release my own SaaS offering. And
but that's what I mean.
People start these things in their fucking garages, like.
Yeah, but that is it holding them back, that they would not have a good customer support and they would not be able to.
No, like I'm trying to draw you a parallel, which is like people operating businesses with 5 people in them have SaaS offerings that companies buy and purchase. It's not about the manpower or any of that stuff. It's just that this is a strategy decision. I don't think there's any argument that can be made, technical or otherwise, other than this is a conscious strategy decision by the leadership team that this is how they want to grow. And that's the only one that I'll accept as a definition as to why they're not doing this.
Wow. Okay, that was it was the first time I truly got this concept. I'm a bit shocked about it.
I'm going to reserve the right to be wrong in the sense that like I'm armchair CEOing that decision. Like I don't fucking have access to all the information here. If I'm operating,
it seems always easy on the outside.
Facts. It always seems easy on the outside. I'm only operating on the publicly available information, right? So like I don't have access to any private information or inside information. I just have the public information available to me, and that's where I'm basing my decision. So I could definitely be wrong, and there may be facts that they're in possession of that would totally contradict everything I'm saying. So I could totally be wrong. I just can't see how the market forces affect them differently than they affect everyone else. And that's where I would question the strategy, is like, what are the second and third order consequences of your decision? The immediate like second order consequences is that I always give this analogy. You're blocking the creation of skateboarding, right? What does that mean? Skateboarding is a sport in which the original architects like never intended their end product to be used, right? Like skateboarders use architecture in a novel, crazy way and have built entire industries, multi-billion-dollar industries on top of architecture, right? Completely independent of anything the architect had in mind, right? So by blocking mass market adoption, you're actually blocking the art that could be created on top of your platform. And that could be a multi-trillion-dollar mistake. Right? So like, that's the second order consequence. The third order consequence is that someone's going to figure that shit out and come in and offer the platform in a similar platform eventually in a way that you're not, regardless of what you do. You could play the strategy out till kingdom come, talk about privacy all you want and how awesome your platform is. Eventually someone will come up with a Canva, you know, and that's the third order consequence. And so